So this series is based on the fact that mainline Christians in particular generally expect that worship includes the Lord's Prayer. That when Jesus taught us how to pray, he gave us a normative command for worship. This then is how you should pray when you gather together in a group for worship on Sunday mornings. Well, actually, he didn't say that, but this is how you should pray. Now, my argument through this series is that he didn't actually give us a normative style of prayer that had to be repeated in worship, but instead called us into a different lifestyle, using prayer to lead us into a life that would be pleasing to God. And that specifically was a very simple lifestyle, a very basic, simple movement through our days. Now, prior to the passage where Jesus says, this then is how you should pray, he gives a couple of other instructions. He says, don't be like the hypocrites, who like to pray in public and who like to be seen by people and who like the applause afterwards. Oh, good prayer, preacher. Well done. Thank you very much. Nobody can pray like you can. Jesus says they have a reward already. Don't be like that. And then goes on to say, and don't be like the pagans or the Gentiles, which, by the way, folks, as you know, is us. If you're not Jewish, you're Gentile. And to us, he said, and do not pray like they do, for they believe that they need long speeches and flowery words in order to be heard by their God. Don't be like that. Jesus says, your Father knows what you need even before you ask for it. So don't go on and on and on and on thinking that that's the way that you're going to be heard. That you are going to essentially bother, pester, and torment God to say, okay. Like we do with our kids sometimes. Okay, you can have it, just go away. Go play. Yes, you can have that candy after the, 1,000th time of asking in a row. Yes, please take it and go play. Jesus says our God's not like that. Our God knows what we need even before we ask for it. And so if the point of prayer is not to convince God to do something, then what is the point of prayer? Well, my argument through the Lord's Prayer is that Jesus is calling us to use prayer as a reflection of who we are. And to see what God calls us into, which is joy in simplicity. So, we talked a couple of weeks ago of what it means for us to say that God is holy. What it means for us to recognize the holiness of God beyond ourselves. And last week we talked about God's will being done and what that means for us as we go through our days, and how if it is already happening in heaven, your will be done on earth as it is in heaven, then we are called to seek that will. That we are called to show that divine will through the midst of our days. And today, we ask, give us our daily bread. Now, the first hearers would immediately hearken to the story of Moses in the wilderness leading the children of Israel to the promised land, where they complained that they had nothing to eat in the desert. And they said, oh, if only Moses, you had left us in the desert to die, we'd have been a lot happier. And Moses goes to God and says, what am I going to do? And God says, all right, I'm going to give you manna. Every morning, you're going to find that under the haze that covers the desert, you're going to find a flaky bread-like substance. Take a jar of it to last you for the day. But do not take any more. If you take any more, it will rot. So take only what you need. So this is what Jesus' first hearers, I would assume, would have heard in their mind's ear as Jesus is saying to them, give us today our daily bread. I gotta say, nobody else can see this, but she is fast asleep here. And it's nice to see during worship that somebody who is asleep who will not afterwards say, I'm so sorry, preacher, please forgive me. So give us today our daily bread. Now, let's look at our context. How many of you woke up this morning knowing that you had the potential, whether you had it or not, but had the potential to have breakfast as soon as you got out of bed? How many of you, at any given time, will have at least 3 days' food in your pantry? How many of you, at any given time, may have a week's or more worth of groceries in your pantry? We've prepared. We've prepared for ourselves. What does it then mean to say, God, give us today what we know we've already provided for? Well, a couple of things in there. I don't necessarily think it is a particularly literal understanding of bread. I think what Jesus is saying is, give us what we need for the day. And Jesus, when faced with the tempter in the desert, in the wilderness, said, people do not live by bread alone, but by the word of God. What we need is more than just a loaf of bread in the day. What we need is God speaking to us, God walking with us, God's Spirit within us, building community together. This is the deeper need that we have. But in the midst of this also, Jesus does call us by reminding us of what we need for today, what we need to get through for today. He's reminding us of vulnerability. This is a common call within Jesus' ministry. He is calling his disciples, those who would seek to follow him, to be vulnerable. When he sends out the 72, he says, take no bag, no bread, do not take an extra pair of sandals, and don't even take a staff. And when you enter a town, go to the first door. And the first door that you knock on, if they accept you, sit down and eat there. This is an incredibly vulnerable lifestyle. Now, we don't tend to lead those itinerant lifestyles. Even the groups that believe in itinerancy do not live like that. Not in North America, we don't. Because we are very heavily based in security. And yet, there's a call in there too. Jesus says, don't let your treasure be where thieves steal and moths eat. But let your treasure be in heaven. We are called to be vulnerable. It's a hard thing to say, it's a hard thing to hear, and it's a much harder thing to do. Because we like to live with the myth that we are sufficient. That we can pull ourselves up by our bootstraps. That with hard work and devotion and dedication, we can do great things. But Jesus says life is about something different. It's not about you. First of all, it's about God. First and foremost. And next of all, it's about community. Love God, love your neighbor. To love is to be vulnerable. To love is to recognize that in a given moment, you may not get what you need. And that is a hard thing to face. And I have seen so many relationships, participated in them, where they've been destroyed because we've sought to control and maintain our sense of invulnerability. And we end up losing what's most important. Give us today, God, the things we need, so that we may focus